our prayers have finally been answered. We are finally getting a Nintendo Direct in June. Except no, we aren't. That's right, we're getting a Direct, but it's Xenoblade Chronicles 3. You want to hear a fun fact? I couldn't care less about the Xenoblade Chronicles franchise. I, personally, think that anyone who plays it is a creepy weird man with creepy children in his creepy basement who's very creepy. Except Chucker Conroy. I like them. Now, you look down at the length of this video, you might see that's just a tad bit longer than me saying, ew, icky, gross, not gonna watch it. And that's because there is a fair amount of stuff to discuss here around this. And by around this, I mean literally everyone else except Nintendo saying something. So, let's get into that. But first, yeah, remember my last video where I was like, hey guys, Direct on the 15th? Well, as you might have noticed, we didn't get one. But I'm here to say that that leak was still entirely correct. What? You may be thinking. But you literally just said yourself we didn't get one. Well, you see, that leak didn't exactly have anything to do with the Direct. The person assumed that those dates were for a Direct, but they never were. That leak was posted before Summer Games Fest, and it did get the release date of Neon White correct, completely. So the leak was still true. We just interpreted it wrong. You see so much of the time in movies and games that critics will get to play them, and of course make a review of them, not too long before the thing comes out itself. So, in the actual leak itself that we looked at, which I literally showed you in the video, those dates were simply, here's when it releases so you can show gameplay footage, and here's when you can review it, which is standard across multiple different forms of media. And by multiple, I mean games and movies. So yeah, I wasn't wrong, the person was wrong. Don't blame me. If you blame me, I'm gonna be very sad. Okay, now let's get into the other leaks that are definitely gonna be real and stuff. Okay, so first of all, we might as well just discuss the actual Direct itself. Nintendo of America, tune in on the 22nd of June at 7 AM PT for a live stream to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Direct presentation, featuring roughly 20 minutes of information about the upcoming RPG adventure for Nintendo Switch. I don't care. That fact was already quite obvious, because I literally said it right at the start, but still, just kinda saying it again here, I don't care. But what's important about this? Well, other than the fact that it's actual, well, facts, unlike everything else in this video, it's also more about when this was posted. Nintendo announced this roughly 17 hours ago, and the world has been entirely different ever since. There have been riots in the streets, people are dying, the entire world has blown into two pieces. Jokes about the Nintendo fanbase aside, the main reason why this is important is because there was a 4chan leak, which was posted not too long before Nintendo officially announced that. Now, what does this funny leak say? Twitter post by Nintendo today announcing a 20-minute Xenoblade 3 Direct for Wednesday. Game won't appear in the actual Direct next week except for a final story trailer. Direct next week? What? Wowie zowie! One thing I haven't touched on this channel yet is that there's been a lot of leaks saying that there's going to be a Direct on the 29th. I honestly didn't feel bothered to cover this. There was enough people already discussing it. Mix that together with the fact that we just had a leak that ended up being fake and, well, not fake, as I said earlier, it was correct, just be assumed wrong. After all of that, I just didn't care. But now that this has happened, where Funny Man says it's going to happen next week, it does make me think that we could be in for one. But this isn't the only bit of information. No. So, do you know who Jeff Keighley is? He's the funny man who does, of course, the Game Awards, and more recently, Summer Games Fest. Now, why is this important? Well, you see, he made a tweet recently that he soon deleted afterwards and replaced with a new one. I'll be reading both of them out for you. But his initial tweet says, "Looks like Nintendo is splitting up its news in June. Xenoblade Direct coming on Wednesday morning." Splitting up its news in June. What do you mean by that? Now, he deleted this and replaced it with a new one saying, "For all those wondering what Nintendo would do this month, Nintendo has announced a Xenoblade specific Direct for Wednesday. Seems Nintendo is splitting up its news versus one main Direct this month." So, let's look into the wordology of this, which isn't a real word, but I think it's fun to say. In the initial tweet, he's saying that so matter-of-factly, of, oh, I guess they're splitting up the news in June. Like he knows that they had news to say in June anyway. Jeff Keighley being such a large part of the gaming scene, even though he isn't explicitly falling under Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony or any of the other ones, he still does matter a lot and would still be in talks with all three of them. Even if Nintendo hasn't really interacted with Jeff Keighley's events before, like the Game Awards and Summer Games Fest, I feel like he would still have some knowledge of what was going to happen, such as a Direct. What do I mean by Nintendo not really interacted with them? Well, hey, remember like every single past Game Awards where other than a Nintendo game showing up for a Game Awards, they haven't announced anything? Oh, but what about Sephiroth in Smash? And also Joker. Well, see, that was more the Smash team and the people working on that game showing it off. When's the last time an actual Nintendo game has been announced at the Game Awards? Alright, Summer Games Fest. You know what Nintendo did for Summer Games Fest this year? Literally just a Nintendo Switch Has Games trailer where they showed off, hey look, here's things we've already announced. Here's old footage that you've already seen. Bye-bye! They don't seem to care too much. Which, I don't know, it's weird. Now, let's look at the tweet that he currently has up and that has been up for 17 hours. For all those wondering what Nintendo would do this month, Nintendo has announced a Xenoblade specific direct for Wednesday. The terminology of this makes him seem like he's more on our level of, he didn't know what was going on with Nintendo, just like all of us don't. He's making reference to all of the direct leaks and all of the, oh, June 15th, no, it'll be in a week after that, no, it'll be June 29th, that kind of talks. He then replied to this with, seems Nintendo is splitting up its news versus one main direct this month, ? Now, remember in the first tweet, he said, looks. Now he's saying seems. Now, you don't have to be a professor of English at a university to understand that those two words mean very different things. Looks is objective facts, okay? That guy looks like a murderer, well, he has a knife in his hand and there's a dead corpse next to him. Yep, he certainly does. Guy with a giant human-shaped black bag, dragging it down the street. He seems like a murderer. See, there's a difference. One is based in facts, and one is based on assumptions. His initial tweet saying looks, which was then deleted in favor of one where he says seems, really does make me think that he accidentally did little slippy whippy up. So, in short, what does this mean? It means that a direct can theoretically still be happening this month. If you take into account all the leaks already saying it's going to happen on June 29th, if you take into account that it makes sense, it would be the logical thing to do. But at the same time, Nintendo isn't exactly known for knowledge or for making the right decisions. I mean, come on, why didn't you buy Alpha Dream? I mean, I know there's a huge list of reasons why, but also Funny Mario and Luigi game, guys. Anyway, that, and Jeff Keighley's little slip-up, just the fact he deleted that original tweet really does seem suspicious to me. And, of course, the 4chan leak, which, yeah. If not for the fact that it had been posted before the announcement of the Xenoblade Direct came out, I wouldn't have even bothered looking at it. And I don't feel like anybody else would either. Now, as always, do keep in mind this could end up all being fake. As much sense as it makes, it could just be Jeff Keighley making a small typo, it could just be the funny 4chan man making a random guess. I mean, you hopefully saw the predictions video for E3 2021, okay? But that man guessed the entirety of the new Mario Party, so it is not at all out of question for people to be able to just guess these things. If you want to hear what I think is going to happen at E3, but not really, Nintendo's June Direct, if they're going to have one at this point, go watch the video I've already made on that. If you enjoyed this video, go watch my other ones, and if you enjoyed them as well, then please do consider subscribing. I know we've reached 200, and I know I've done literally nothing with that yet, I'm sorry. It's a big video, takes a little bit of time, but still do consider it anyway, because it would be funny, make the number even bigger, because why not? Comment if you think any of these actually mean anything, or if you've just given up on a direct at this time of the year, because honestly, that might be the smartest thing to do. It's better just to think that nothing is going to happen at all and then get something, than to think that something is happening and then get absolutely nothing and look like an idiot who smells funny. Right, see you in the next one, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.